What is a weak dollar? In order for us to figure out what a weak dollar is, or any kind of dollar, we have to first of all understand what is money. Money is a medium of exchange. Money is durable. A cattle cannot be money. Money is portable. A rock, although they were used for money, is not money. It has to be divisible. More importantly, it has to be legal tender, which means that you're forced to pay your taxes with it. And finally, it's got to be a limited supply. Now, early money, being that we're talking about the dollar, and the dollar is considered money, early money years ago were stones, as I mentioned. They were rhinestones in the island of Yap. People used that for money. The stones never moved, but the ownership of the stones moved. Salt, tobacco, beaver pelts, cowrie shells, tulips, paper, as we use today, digital, gold, silver, copper coins. So why did everybody settle on the gold standard? Why, since before antiquity, has gold always been something special? One, let's talk about the gold standard itself. The gold standard was considered something that was a fixed price good. It did not fluctuate. It was mined, and the only way you basically get more gold is to find more gold mines and get more gold. It's scarce. Again, something has to be scarce. So what the world just by default settled on, because you could find gold anywhere, it was rare, it was used for jewelry, currency, it was beautiful. The whole world settled on gold and a gold standard. Now that we know what money is and money is not, let's talk a second about the history of money. In the United States in 1913, the Federal Reserve System was established. It was a paper money system backed by gold. It offered bank regulation, supervision. Along with that came the 16th Amendment, which was the income tax bill. Kind of strange. Same year. June 5th, 1933, in the midst of the Depression, Franklin Delano Roosevelt asked Americans to turn in their gold. I don't mean jewelry and things of that nature, but the economy was in such unusual shape that it made sense for all the gold to come into and under the control of the United States Treasury. At the end of World War II, there was an agreement signed between most of the major nations in Bretton Woods, New Hampshire, which connected gold to the dollar. Again, it was the gold standard, but it made the US dollar, which was easier to deal with, equal to gold at a fixed rate. In the United States, by that time, you had the Great Society in the 60s, by the 60s times. You had spending for the Vietnam War, and you had inflation. It said that Charles de Gaulle, the president of France, contacted Lyndon Baines Johnson and said, "I'm coming to pick up my gold." That's when Johnson got really upset and changed his view on how much gold was going to be around. In 1971, I remember on television there was a program called Bonanza. It was a Western, most popular Western. President Nixon interrupted Bonanza, the most popular Western on TV, and announced price controls to deal with the inflation. But there's one thing he mentioned, only one thing he mentioned on the side that has had the biggest impact probably in financial history. Richard Nixon, the president, disconnected the dollar from gold, which meant the dollar would float on its own against other currencies. This is the beginning of the Forex market, beginning of the foreign exchange market. So, we're talking about weak currency, okay? What is a weak currency? We've understood where the dollar is. We understood now the history of the US dollar. What does it mean when the dollar is weak? You usually have times of inflation. There could be war. There could be a black swan event like COVID. It could be trade imbalances with the country. A weak domestic market. In some issues, defaults. But in all issues, trade deficits. So why is this important? 80% of the world's currency, trades are settled in US dollars. So if the dollar is weak and you have to settle a trade from, let's say, Japan, yen to dollar, that means that means that you have to accumulate more yen. And the problem with that is if Japan has to accumulate more yen, their products become more expensive to Americans. The other side of it is that American travelers tend to get more for their money. American products become more expensive. Weak currency is the president's dream because you get easy money. You're getting interest, you're getting very low interest rates on getting money from banks, which always, in my research, means stupidity. It means that the banks and others go out with this cheap money and risk it in ventures that they may not normally have done. The stock exchange grows. Your trade imbalance changes. The way a weak currency, where currency is measured, whether it's weak or strong, is based on something called the dollar index. This was formed in 1973 after the president disconnected us from gold. And what the dollar index is, it takes the United States and it looks at its major trading partners and it looks at the value of their currency versus the US dollar. Now, I'm going to give you a little tidbit of information what's wrong with the way we do this now. And again, this is the principal way that currencies are measured, being weak or being strong. The current dollar index has the yen, the euro, the pound, the Swiss franc, the Swedish krona, and the Canadian dollar in it. Now, remember what I said. The dollar index should reflect the principal trade partners of the United States. The reality is, today in America, the top 3 trading partners in the United States are Mexico, Canada, and China. So, I guess what I'm even saying is the tool that we're using may not be accurate. But in any event, as I said, the problem with a weak dollar is it promotes low interest rates, it promotes spending, and it promotes people to do things they normally wouldn't do if the dollar was stronger. So, I'd like to thank you for your time. I'd like to give me a thumbs up, and have a good day. Bye.